Hey friends, it's Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Welcome to the wonderful world of my garage gym. Today, we are reviewing the Freak Athlete Nordic Hyper GHD. This is a machine that combines 6 different home gym, primarily posterior chain machines into one. The founder has come out and said that this is not only the best home gym piece of equipment, yes, the best home gym piece of equipment, but for each individual machine, he pretty much says it was the best too. That's a bold claim, and so today we're gonna find out if it's true. I will say, of all of the movements that are on this is the worst one. Before I talk about its actual functionality, as well as what I think about it, I wanna show you how it works, because there's a lot going on. 6 different machines in one. First one is Nordics. That's kind of the primary use of this, I would say. For anybody that's out there that hasn't done Nordics yet, I can't talk about them enough. They've absolutely changed my training. I absolutely love them. So having something that does that is great. That's what this position is. Now, one of the unique parts of this is that this doesn't just do regular Nordics, but it also does incline and decline Nordics, meaning you can do progression and regression depending on where you're at with Nordics. One of the hardest parts of Nordics is actually getting started with them because they are very hard. So being able to do this in different increments is great. Now let's go to the next one. Okay, so then the next one is the back extension. I'll show you how to get into the position. You take this platform off. It actually screws in right here. There's a locking mechanism. Notice there are a lot of pins on this. Once you get used to using this and have trained with it a lot, I think you would get really used to it. It wouldn't be a big deal, but none of these are labeled on here, so it can be a little bit difficult to figure out what exactly you're doing because there is so much. This, you pull out, it then adjusts up. Okay, it then locks in automatically. You then, for whatever angle you want to use it for, can then adjust here. So if you want to go even higher, you can do so like this. It goes up to 45 degrees. 45 degrees is great. That's kind of the standard back extension. But one of the cool things about this is it can adjust for pretty much all body types. So if you notice, somebody at this length would have to be really freaking tall. I know objects in the camera look larger than they appear, but I mean, that's a very tall person. So it can go all the way from there down to really short, like really short. So you can adjust for pretty much all body types, which I would say is a really big benefit. So there's your 45-degree back extension. The next machine is a GHD. Man, there's a lot with this thing. Okay, the way you do a GHD, there's a pack pin right here. This unlocks it. Beep. You then are able to adjust this piece to different angles. You can adjust to so many freaking angles on this. Honestly, it can get a little overwhelming at first, but you then adjust this up and you can bring this to where it's all the way flat. So this would be essentially a GHD. I mean, look at that. One thing to note though, there is a lot of play because there's so much adjustment. So to minimize that, all these pop pins, they do pop, but once you pop them, and there are a lot, you're gonna have to get used to screwing.
5 minutes later. 3 hours later. 1 eternity later.
Stupid, dude. I did not mean to do that. Without screwing these in, it does get a little bit wobbly, but once they're screwed in, it's not too bad. You now have a full GHD and can use it like most other GHDs. You can use it for sit-ups, GHRs, or even 90-degree back extensions. So 90-degree back extension, something like this. I'd probably pull this out further. Again, unscrew, pull out. Then you can use it 90-degree back extension, which is great for the lower back. Notice this pin right here. This has no functionality other than stepping up on. I think it's a nice feature. I'm glad they added it because it doesn't limit what you do, but does allow you to step up on it. Then if you would like to use it like a GHR or a Nordic platform, but want to be higher off the ground for some reason, you can do that with this pad. So you adjust this out. There's then a hole in the channel. You place this in. Pop. You can then lock it in if you'd like. It's actually not a lock, it's a tension knob. I really would like if that was locked in, but it's locked in enough that it's not gonna move. So if you're a CrossFit athlete or like doing more dynamic movements like GHD sit-ups, you can use this for that. You pretty much just pop in here, put your feet in, and then you can do GHD sit-ups. It does not feel as good as a normal GHD, just being clear. Also, if you'd like a little bit of something underneath your knees, You can do this, which by the way, if you decline, you can use it like a sit-up board. So you can then get in here like this, put your feet in here like this, and now you're at a decline where you can now use it like a sit-up board. Now we're gonna do reverse hypers. By the way, Freak Athlete did send this, so we could do a review, but it's gonna be honest like always. And if you'd like to purchase it, you can check it out, the link below the like button. They will pay us a small commission, but doesn't increase the cost you pay. But to show the Nordic version, this is the Nordic version. So I will say, of all of the movements that are on this, this is the worst one. Really, a true reverse hyper has a pendulum between the table and then allows you to swing with weight. This is technically a reverse hyper and will allow you to get tension. And if you'd like to add resistance, you can attach to this little D hanger here, you can attach a band. The problem is the band's not gonna have tension through the full range of motion, and technically you're not really gonna get full range of motion anyways, because you're not really gonna be able to come underneath the table, but it does allow you to stretch out a little bit with the handles here and increase blood flow to lower back. I wanna say this, I would not buy this for this particular movement because there's much better out there, and reverse hyper, it just doesn't compare. I guess one thing you could do is you could add monkey feet to weight your feet. The problem still is they're gonna be so long, you're not really gonna be able to get underneath the table all the way because there's all this mechanism here. So a way that you could weight it in addition to the bands, but again, not ideal. Okay, lastly, there is one more machine technically that this can do, and I actually really like this one. This is a hip thrust or a Bulgarian split squat. Basically, you take the pad, the roller pad that is on the back for your feet, typically used for GHDs or Nordics. You then bring it to the front. You pull this pop pin out, you adjust this up, you then place the pop pin back in, so this is vertical. You then place this in here, lock it in, and suddenly you have a place where you can do hip thrusts. I wish it went a little bit higher so you had a little bit more height, but it is pretty comfortable to be a rounded pad. The other thing though, in the way that I would really use this, and I'll lock it in just to show you the stability because it is more stable than what I'm showing. So that's about max stability. But the way that I would use it, and I actually have a standalone roller for this because I do them all the time, is Bulgarian split squats, where you raise up your leg and do single leg squats. These will absolutely fire up your core, and I actually really like that piece. There is all the mechanisms. There is a lot. Now let me tell you about what I think about it as a whole, as well as the quality. There's actually even more adjustability than I showed you. There's things like adding weight on the back for basically to increase stability, which by the way, when you're doing GHDs, it can be a little topsy-turvy when you're on there. So I recommend putting weight on the front, which they also have the ability to do. There's also a sit-up pad, and there's other adjustability handles and things like that. But here's what I'd say overall, functionality-wise, this is not the best piece of home gym equipment, like he said, but this is pretty damn good. I'm serious, this thing is really good functionality-wise in that it can do so much. Truly, there are not a lot of pieces of equipment that have quite the versatility of this one. For lower body training, there is just so much you can do with this. For a home gym, this really meets kind of the gold standard that I consider of versatility per square footage. That's kind of what we're looking for, is how much versatility can I pack per square footage because you don't have a lot of real estate in your garage gym. This does that. Now, there are some caveats. Not every machine works as well as others. For instance, the Nordics, I love that it can do both progressed or regressed Nordics so you can improve over time, but there's also the ability to do GHD, the sit-up bench, also the hip thrust. I like all those features. The reverse hyper is just okay. Here's kind of my problems with it. Number one, the build quality, it's very okay. The manufacturer they're using overseas, it's not that great. You can tell in the welds, also the vinyl and rollers, it's just kind of there. This is the same fabric that many of the imported companies used years ago and have since upgraded from. It's grippy, but it's not great. It's not super thick. The foam that's on here, it's not crazy comfortable. It's somewhat dense, but over time, it's really gonna compress. The rollers, this roller actually doesn't roll, even though it's called a leg roller. These ones do kind of, but they're just, overall, the fit and finish and powder coat and everything is just okay. Also, there is quite a bit of plastic here on moving parts. So you have all the plastic channels, which are nice because they allow movement. It's not like an HDPE. It's not really high density. So over time they could crack. So it's just gonna take a little bit of time to figure it out because of the design I love the adjustability, but it's kind of hard to figure out how exactly you start it from the beginning. Now, one thing I do like, they now have engraved number markings, so you know exactly what number you're at. It is very nice because there is so much adjustability. You want to know and have repeatability every time you're doing your workouts. This allows you to do that. One thing is this is actually pretty lightweight. It's not crazy heavy for all that's in here. Kind of positive, kind of negative. The positive side is in a home gym, you can actually move this in and out of the garage pretty easy or wherever you're gonna use it. It does have wheels. They are very cheap and crappy wheels. Like I freaking hate these wheels. So it'll be a little bit annoying to move it, but it also does store upright if you want to get it out of the way. I would say that the quality of the piece doesn't necessarily match the functionality, but I will say this, the functionality vastly exceeds the cost. I mean, this thing's 800 bucks. It's their pre-order price. I don't know if it'll stay that much, but 800 bucks for all these machines for a home gym, I actually really like that price point. Also, the quality, I actually think matches the price point. In my opinion, this is actually something I would highly recommend. Like truly, I would really recommend this for people that want an ability to do all these different movements. Understand that the quality is basically what you get for what you pay for, but the functionality vastly exceeds the cost that's here, and because of that, I really like it. I'd love to see some quality improvements or maybe even a premium option in the future that costs quite a bit more, has the same functionality, but has much better foam and welds and all that sort of stuff. But for who this is marketed to, which is the average home gym owner that wants to get a lot done in a small package without paying just an exorbitant amount, this thing kills it. What do you think about the machine? Is this something that you would get at your home gym? Do you think there's too much going on, or do you like that there's so much versatility? I feel like there's lots of machines coming out from other companies too, like Bulletproof. They're coming out with lots of machines. If you'd like to see any of those, either separate reviews or compared to this, let me know in the comments. But this has been Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. I'll see you next time. Peace.